of the information that needs to be shared. Of course, you're not going to take notes like you when you go to the classrooms. Of course, there's no time for that. But jot down the essential information. And that way you don't forget, because our memory fails us. It's the least expected time. So that, and I think the best situation to be an interpreter would be in person, on site.
Yes, in person is great. If it's an option, it's fabulous to have
Absolutely,
that. So
absolutely.
thank you. I'm going to take a couple questions. So Rafael is asking if we're currently hiring interpreters in Mexico and Costa Rica. We are looking to expand to some other countries, so stay tuned on that. Nothing solidified just yet, but right now those are the two overseas countries that we're able to hire from. And then the Burmese interpreter is asking, can we work while we are out of the country? And that's another thing that we are also working on. Right now, the answer is no. It's very complex as far as laws go, employment laws for other countries. So, but we are working on it. So stay tuned. Okay. So, Callie, can you tell everybody about kind of the requirements for coming on board as an in-person interpreter?
Yes, a job requirement for interpreters to come on board with us is we would like our interpreters to have a strong language proficiency, cultural awareness, and a solid understanding of medical terminology. Ideally, most interpreters would have completed a 40-hour training course or have at least 6 months of work experience. And these qualifications just ensure that the interpreter is able to provide accurate culturally sensitive communication, especially in these high stakes settings.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. Okay, Rocio, how do you factor in logistics, like, accessing the facilities, traveling time, parking costs?
Yeah, those are very important questions too, and the information that you need to research before you go, especially if you're going to main cities where parking is hard or traffic is an issue. You will have to decide. So after I receive the information for an assignment, usually I go to Google and I said, so how long would it be from point A to point B at that time, so I can be there? I usually get there earlier, just in case I need to look for that. When you get all the information, you can call the facility. Medical facilities, most of them have a parking, so that is not so much of an issue. That is a help for us and also safe. But you need to factor all those things and decide if that is a good assignment for you or not. But Google gives you now the possibility that you can see how is the traffic, usually on a Wednesday at 5 p.m. going to Boston, or if you are going to Plymouth. And that is, as interpreters are, of course, working for the patient.
Yeah, good tips. Thank you. Sophia, so we probably have people in the audience who have never worked as an in-person interpreter. What tips can you give them to be successful?
I can't agree more with Callie and with Rocio. But I do need to let the prospective colleagues know that AMN trains and prepares its interpreters very well. I came in to AMN as VRI, so I truly did benefit from being trained online, and it's wonderful. But if you're going to come in as a contractor, I think it's highly essential that you have the the background, the language background and proficiency in languages, because it will help a lot. But once you're in the door, though, you become more and more competent. If you follow the guidelines and just follow, uh, you'll be a success if you follow the guidelines. And I would like to emphasize that with Rosie was saying, you will have plenty of time, though, especially weather and traffic and road conditions. Right now in the FW, there's so much of road construction that you can really not rely on Google Map or Apple Maps. And navigation within the facility too, because some of the facilities are so large. They're like a city within a city. And I would like to also bring up something that new interpreters may need to be aware of, because at times the patients and family may develop some level of comfort with interpreters, that they feel that it's natural to include the interpreters in their decision making. And this, please say alert, state the role as interpreter and state the HIPAA compliance, so that patients and families are aware that we can only relay the meaning of words from one language to another. Anything else is beyond our capability. And I say note taking or jotting down the keywords would be most important, and eye contact. So that's
good.
yeah.
That's some good advice. Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the role of the interpreter, because this is again where the training comes in like so handy, right? Because when you're in that room with the patient, they're more apt to try to involve you in the decision making. Maybe they feel comfortable with you because you speak the same language. They're going to ask you, what would you do in this situation? But, somebody who's not been trained might think, oh, I can give them my advice, but of course that's not the interpreter's role. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Okay. Callie, what piece of with us to kind of help them?
Yes, I think my biggest piece of advice is to make sure you invest in your career. It is very important that a person takes those medical interpreter training classes, as well as just do those continuing education courses, just to stay industry relevant and consistently practice medical terminology. It's those little things that truly do set you apart as an interpreter when you do have training outside of that initial medical interpreter training.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and the training, I mean, as a professional, you do a training and that's your property forever. Nobody can take that from you, right? So if you have any questions, certainly apply at amnhealthcare.com. You can get in touch with one of us and we're happy to share our resources. We actually have a whole show that we did a few months back on some of our career connections partners, which is where you can get a discounted training, interpreter training. So definitely reach out to us. We can help guide you through that process. Okay, now we're going to get to my favorite part, the stories from the out in the interpreting field. So Rocio, first question is for you. Can you share with us a time where you could really tell that you made a positive impact on patient care?
It's a hard question because I think we always make a positive impact, but it comes to mind something that I think it can help new interpreters or new people who are coming in. You will find frequently that the interpreter for many parents are the kids who were born in this country. They know the language and they start becoming the interpreter for the parents. They take the kids everywhere to everything, because before there were no disponibility of having an interpreter available. So I show up to an assignment. It was for a PT for pelvic floor. So that should tell you something, right? And here comes mom with a teenager. I, I immediately noticed that the kid was very protective of the mom. He was like, "Who are you, lady? Why are you here? That's my role." So I explained to him that I was going to go into the consultation with his mother, because it was going to be a very particular thing for women that I don't think he was going to be comfortable. And I explained that to him and to the mom. And the mom said, yeah, 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 go sit down, let the lady help me. And he was very hesitant, but he understood. And the consultation went just fine. And I'm sure that the kid wasn't going to be comfortable inside of the hour and a half that took that consultation, because it was very detailed, and it entails the whole exploration. So I think in that sense, it's great that in some facilities, parents, patients have now the availability of having an interpreter without having to include the kid, who not necessarily knows everything that an interpreter does.
Yeah, of course. And it's like, let's let these kids be kids, right? Not have them bear the burden of all these medical terms and hearing things that might really freak them out about their parents. So, yeah, that's great. Sophia, share a moment, if you can, where you really realize, like, oh, wow, I'm working for the right place. I'm doing the right thing.
That's a very good question. I'm thinking hard. Uh, I wish there was an aha moment that I could pinpoint. But things just come together and things just add up and make me appreciate being with AMN more and more. Um, when I first got recruited by Miss Kelly Payton, she's the reason why I'm here. Hello, Kelly. She was very informative and very responsive. It's, first impression really counts, and so she made me feel very comfortable and very welcome, and she gave me all the information I need, and I fell in love with the company. I researched, and I found that AMN has very good reputation within the industry, of course, um, and it, AMN Language Services offers great training. Like I said, I came in as VRI before I went on site. Um, yeah, they have great support and great training, and AMN will support your interpreter's licensure. Um, so I like Kristen mentioned, they give discount, which I really like, and they give you a bump in raise once you're licensed. So that's a bonus. Um, and there are workshops that you can go to, and as VRI interpreters, you get a 5 minute daily training, which is wonderful. Um, and the other thing too, I'd like to mention that AMN has several teams under its umbrella. My team is the white team, and I think our white team is very, very fortunate to have a great manager. He is very dedicated, very approachable. He may not be able to hear what I'm saying right now because he's at a meeting, but I'm telling you, he will help answer questions, and he will speak with you even during unconventional hours. And I do credit him a lot for fostering our team's strong morale. We have a group chat within team members, and it really connect us, and it really make us feel closer as a unit. And we do share a lot of things, a lot of frustration that we cannot share with anyone else, like interpreters' frustration. This is something that you are not able to share with your family, only with your colleagues. So I truly appreciate my manager Um, do you think I can bring up his name?
Sure.
His name is Kenneth Kwang.
Yeah.
Look him up. When once you go into Asian portal and you click on the meet the leadership team, you'll see him there. Uh, and by the way, I think I credit my manager Kenny Kwang for saying this. He said, "Asian portal is interpreter's Bible,"
We
and
have
it
a
is
great,
so. It's so true. Everything you want to know, go to Asian portal. So with that said, everything kind of built up. And the more I stay with AMN, the more I appreciate that I am here with AMN. These the little things that I'm telling you are just minor things that add up.
yeah, thank you, Sophia. And we have some great managers. Almost all of our managers, if not, yeah, every manager was an interpreter as far as the interpreting team managers. So they've been in the role, they know the challenges, they can guide you. Almost every manager is certified as well, so they've got some great knowledge in their background. So I wanted to take a quick minute to answer a question somebody asked. Amelia is asking, how long is the training? So I think the training she's referring to is, when we say you need an interpreter training. So this is typically, a 40-hour plus. The organizations that we have partnerships with, where we say you can get a discount coming through us, they offer like 40-hour trainings up to 60, and I think even 120 hours. So it's really just depending on what you're looking for. But the standard is a 40-hour training for medical interpreters. That's the gold standard. All right. Callie, so you've spoken with a ton of interpreters in your background, in your past. Tell us about a time when a candidate really stuck out as like, oh, this is a good fit for us.
Yes, and I do want to say thank you, Sophia. It was truly a pleasure to work with you in the past. A time that an interpreter truly stuck out to me was that they shared that they were a first generation English speaker, and they were responsible from a very young age for navigating difficult medical conversations between doctors and their grandparents. And that experience truly shaped their mission to ensure patient understanding and continue to advocate for their community. And I do know Rocio also talked about how she kind of had to step in and kind of take, a young child's job in a sense, when she was interpreting on behalf of their mother. And I think so many of our interpreters do start off with just having that connection to their community, and that is why they continue to become medical interpreters, because they know how essential their role is to other families.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, we're getting close to the end here, guys. It's been such a productive show, but I just want to get some advice from everyone. So, Rocio, if you could give one piece of advice to an aspiring interpreter, someone looking to be an in-person interpreter, what would your advice be?
I will make it in three parts. It's so hard to just one thing, but I think the most important part is keeping your role, like Sophia mentioned, very important. You need to be very patient. Most of the times, the medical professionals, the nurses, the staff knows how valuable you are, and they will give you time to do your work. There are a few times that they're just rushing and oh, an interpreter it's making things harder and longer. So you just need to be patient and try to be swift, understanding, reading the room, what is happening, so you do the best you can under the circumstances. Always ask for clarification. That would be the second point. Um, if you, with the knowledge that you have, you don't understand what they are saying or what the procedure entails, we're not doctors. Imagine the patient. So when something is off, I always, can you clarify? Can you give me an example so I can interpret it better? And then they do. Most of the times they do it. Otherwise, you can look up the word. It rarely happens, but it's important that you always clarify if something is you don't understand. And the last one is keep learning. This is an amazing field, and there's so much to learn, and the sky is the limit.
Good advice. Thank you. And Sophia, the next question is coming your way. So what's your final advice you would give to anyone who's wanting to come on board with AMN as an in-person interpreter?
I would like to reiterate the points that both Kristen and Kaylee mentioned. That preparation is crucial. Um, Even if you do have the ability to interpret, um, the certification or the certificate, something formal, something that you can show, something that you can prove, will speak volume because you have gone through um, formal training. You have that under your belt, and so I think right now, if you're looking into it, it's a great investment. You will never lose it, like Kristen said. Even if you don't use it, you never know when you're going to use it. I wasn't a formal medical interpreter until later in my career because I started out working as a, analyst. So with COVID, um, my job became mobile, and I was able to work from a different location. But as COVID was over, um, I am many states away from my home work. So this is the best thing that could come to me, and because I had some training, I had um, something that I can present to Kelly and say, "Hey, this is my experience. I've been trained. I've this is what I've got," and that was why she took me in. And so thank you, Kelly. Um, and I think enrolling in medical terminology course is a start would be wonderful so that you can see if this is the field that you'd like to be in. Looking into certification, of course. And I think practicing interpreting in your mind and see if this is something that you are able to do and train yourself. Like, like when you hear the radio show going on, you can practice and pretend to be the interpreter translating the conversation from English to your native tongue and see how it goes. And when your people from your let's say I'm Vietnamese. Let's say my Vietnamese family is speaking. I would sit back and pretend that I'm the interpreter, interpreting for non-Vietnamese speakers so that they don't feel left out. And that's how I started to learn my skills to interpret. And then the other thing, the last thing I'd like to mention is building a strong bank of vocabulary. That will definitely help. It doesn't matter if it's going to be, let's say, in science or in something else. Your bank of vocabularies will come in handy.
Yeah. Good. That's great. That's Callie, you've got a hard act to follow with those two. They they didn't leave you much, but
Right? They always take all the good stuff. But
yeah.
as they both did mention, investing in yourself is one of the most best keys of advice. As a recruiter, one of the things I always love to mention is that make sure that your resume truly reflects your skills. Keep it up to date and list all languages and dialects you speak. Don't leave anything out. At A&M Language Services, we work with interpreters in nearly 200 languages. So what you may think is rare might be exactly what we're looking for. Your language can open doors, and make sure we know about them.
That is some great advice. Yeah, we see resumes all over the place, and it's like, okay, you say you work as an interpreter, but it's not listed here. So let's,
Yes,
if you want an interpreting job, let's put that on there. And yeah,
exactly.
great advice. Thank you, Callie. So, well, thank you so much to everyone in our audience. This was a great show. It's always a pleasure to be able to share our panelists with the world. We will not be having our monthly show next month because December's a little crazy, but we're going to pick it up in the new year. So we will see you all in the new year. Thank you so much to all of our guest speakers. You guys are great. And of course, thank you to Jesse and Sasha. This was a lot of talking that they had to interpret, and they did a phenomenal job. So we will see you all in January, and have a great rest of the day.
All
My
right.
pleasure. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Sasha, Kelly, and Rocio.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.